Welcome to the Real Lost Boss podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 45 of the Real Lost Boss podcast. Set your weight loss in the new year off with a bang. That is what we're discussing. Now, depending on when you are watching, listening to this, you might be like, Neil, we've not even got Christmas out of the way yet. I know that. But as I discussed in the last podcast where I talked about weight loss when Santa Claus is coming to town, so navigating through December and weight loss at Christmas, a lot of people, why I did that podcast is because a lot of people suffer with a bit of anxiety around Christmas and just trying to help and change mindset into a more positive one going into Christmas. That anxiety around Christmas can then be carried forward into the new year. And I think if you've got it set in your mind now or around Christmas time or just before Christmas or even just after Christmas, what you're going to do in the new year with your weight loss journey and how you should approach it, again, it will ease all that anxiety. And that means you're going to enjoy Christmas a lot more. So this podcast is, it's about getting back into things in the new year. And it might be really simple to you. You might be like, nope, as soon as I get to this date, bang, I'm off and running and I'll just crack on. But for a lot of people, it's not quite that easy. I've been on this journey a lot of years now. My own journey, working with personal training clients and then working with online clients as well. And I've gone through a good few Christmases now and I have noticed a lot of things, and this is the way I sort of help my clients out. And hopefully if you watch this, it will help you out starting the new year in the right way when it comes to your weight loss journey. Okay. First thing that you need to set in your mind when it comes to getting back into things in the new year is that restart date. I did discuss this in the last podcast, the Christmas cutoff date and the restart date. You've got to make sure that restart date, and I'm just going to double down on this, is achievable. It's realistic. And what I mean by that is I've had a lot of clients recently say they're going to start backtracking 27th of December, 28th of December. That's absolutely fine. If you are genuinely going to get back at it from the 27th, smooth run, no hiccups, no bumps in the road. I'm not saying no bumps in the road, but, basically what I'm trying to say here is if you start backtracking on the 27th, we've got 2 days, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. They tend to be higher calorie days for most of us. And you might be sat there now going, yeah, but I don't do anything New Year's Eve. I don't do anything New Year's Eve, but they still will be higher calorie days. And you might just struggle being accountable, being accurate. And if you set off with all these good intentions and just 2-3 days later, you hit a bump in the road. Like I say, we're always going to hit bumps in the road. There's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. But in the grand scheme of things, there is no difference. And I mean this sincerely. There is really no difference between starting on the 27th of December or starting on the 2nd of January straight after New Year. There really, really isn't. Well, the difference is starting on the 2nd of January, you've got a clean run after that where you can give this your best shot for a good few weeks without any kind of things to navigate, as it were. In December, like I say, last podcast, I talked about navigating through December. Yeah, and we've got no choice with that. We've got to do it. Around Christmas time, you have got a choice. I ain't tracking a single calorie from the 23rd of December to the 2nd of January because I know it's going to be a busy time. It's a time where weight loss is not my priority. And rather than thinking to myself, well, I could track for 2 or 3 days in between, there's nothing wrong with taking a break for a few days. There really, really isn't. You can't undo in a week or so what you've achieved in the last 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. You genuinely can't. So, make sure your restart date is realistic, okay? I love starting my weight loss back on a Monday. Now, last year, the 1st of January was a Monday, and I actually started tracking again on the 1st of January. I ate 4,000 calories, but I tracked it and I stayed accountable to it, and then I just cracked on. Because we've had a leap year this year, the 1st of January is a Wednesday. So I'm like, no, I am going to start retracking on the 2nd, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself for those 4 days. My aim from the 2nd of Jan up until the new week, that is the 6th of January. So the 4 days really, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, is just to track, right? Just to get back into the swing of things, put a bit of routine back into place. Now, you decide when your restart date is, but in January, when you restart, like I say, you want a nice smooth run, because there should really be no massive navigating through January. And I'm not saying some of you might not have holidays booked January, February, you might have some events on, but generally for most of us, it is a much quieter time. So yeah, make sure that restart date is realistic. It's a realistic restart date. Like I say, for me, 2nd of Jan, perfect, off I pop. Now, something that you might want to tackle, or you might not want to tackle it, but you're going to face it, is weighing yourself straight after Christmas. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I do offer my clients this service. By the way, if you want to become one of my clients, I do have spaces open for the 6th of January. That's my first start date in 2025. So if you watch this podcast or you watch my other podcasts and you're sat there feeling a bit anxious, a bit nervous about getting your journey, and you want it, 2025 to be your year, come get on plan with me. All the details are in the description, and I'll do not all the hard work for you, because you've got to do the hard work. You've got to stick to what you need to stick to, but I'll do all the planning for you, right? I'll put things into place. You have then got to stick to it. All right. So anyway, all the details are in the description. And yeah, in the new year, get on my one-to-one plan. I'm taking bookings now, because if you do want to start on the 6th of January, you need to sign up before Christmas. Okay. So yeah, weighing yourself. Now, I've been an online weight loss coach since May 2021, and this will be my 4th Christmas. So I've done 3 previous Christmases as an online coach. And each Christmas, I've offered my clients a pre and post Christmas weigh-in. It's not an official check-in, as it were. It is basically, get on the scales, we'll log your pre-Christmas weight, we'll log your post-Christmas weight, so you can see exactly what you gain over Christmas. And I've got clients that have now worked with me for 2-3 years. They've been with me from the very beginning, and they've got 3 years worth of data. They can see what they were before Christmas, what they gained over Christmas, and more importantly, how long it takes them to lose that Christmas weight. And I did it with a client recently. They messaged me saying they were worrying about Christmas. And I said, look, last Christmas, you weighed this before Christmas, you weighed this after Christmas. They gained 5 pounds over Christmas. And your first official check-in in the new year, it was gone. So why are you worried about Christmas? Right? Why are you worried about Christmas? We've been here before. You gain a couple of pounds, you're going to gain weight over Christmas. All right, you've gained a few pounds, absolutely fine. You've got back to the journey, straight at it from the off. 2 weeks after Christmas, it's all gone. And to have a fully enjoyable Christmas without any guilt of eating anything, without any food fear, anxiety, nice bit of food freedom, for that to just basically put a pause button of 2 weeks on your journey, I think we'll take that. And I've got that data for so many clients now, including myself. I gained 8.8 pounds last Christmas from my Christmas cut-off to my Christmas restart. 8.8 pounds. The end of January, I was minus 12 pounds down from the beginning. So I'd lost all that 8.8 pounds and another 3.2 pounds on top of that. So, yeah, you're going to gain weight over Christmas. It really is that simple. And I've got to be that honest with you. You are going to gain weight over Christmas. Is all that weight you gain fat? No. And are you going to gain? No. I had clients last year that gained a pound or 2. I had some clients that gained 14, 15 pounds. It's all down to the individual, really. But what we need to understand is a scale shows weight gain. It doesn't show fat gain. Now, there's no science behind this. I have talked about it before, but from my experience of me and working with so many clients, when you weigh yourself after a period of overindulgence, the gain, about 70% of it is an increase in things like water retention and food weight, and about 30% of it is body fat. So if you gain 10 pounds over Christmas, let's keep the maths really simple, about 7 pounds of that is excess food weight and water weight that's just, and food and water retention, sorry, that's just floating around your system, right? That'll be gone in a few days, right? And then 3 pounds of body fat gain, which I think is, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's insignificant, but it can be gone in a couple of weeks if you get back to your journey. So it might be hard to see, but I do highly recommend doing a pre-Christmas weigh-in and a post-Christmas weigh-in, and just understanding that over Christmas you're going to gain water weight, food weight, water retention, and some body fat, and that is all going to show on the scales. So you might be like, well, it took me 10 weeks to lose 10 pounds. It might take you 10 weeks to lose 10 pounds of body fat, and then you might be like, but I gained 10 pounds in a week over Christmas. Yeah, but you've not gained 10 pounds of body fat. Right? To gain a pound of body fat, you have to eat at least 3,500 calories above your maintenance. Okay, so I burn a lot of calories, but I burn about 24,000 calories a week. So I'd have to eat in a week 26, 27, 28,000 calories to see a pound gain on the scales. Right? Can I do that in a week? Yes, without even thinking about it. But it's not as easy to gain weight as we think it is, but we think it's a lot easier to gain weight because we don't understand how scales work. I have done a previous episode, an early episode, episode 9, turn the sad step into the happy step. Go give that a watch and it will tell you exactly how the scales work. So anyway, if you do that and you weigh yourself after Christmas, understand, and I recommend if you're going to weigh yourself after Christmas, weigh yourself on your restart date. Don't be weighing yourself over Christmas. You don't need to go near a set of scales over Christmas. Weigh yourself on your restart date. And from that date, get at it. You are in control of that. Okay? Don't let that, I'll start again Monday, I'll start again Monday, I'll start again Monday mentality. Now, when you start back on a weight loss phase, as it were, after a period of overindulgence, this might be after a week all-inclusive in Tenerife or Greece somewhere, or it's after a week or so of Christmas, you need to accept that getting back into your routine is going to be a bit tough for a few days. It won't be all plain sailing. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. They just think, right, I've had Christmas, let's get back to the journey. And, you know, off we pop. No, you are going to face some things. You're going to face some things like some sugary cravings, right? You're going to feel hungry. You've eaten a lot more food for a few days than you would do normally. So when you reduce that intake of food, yeah, you're going to be triggering some hunger hormones. It will settle down, but you will have to fight it a little bit. It's a bit like going back to work after a holiday. You kind of have the post-holiday blues, don't you? And a few days back in work, after your week all-inclusive in Tenerife, you're a bit tired, you're a bit lethargic, it's hard to get out of bed in the morning, and generally you're just feeling a bit nah, right? But 2 or 3 days back into work, the weekend's coming up, you're back at it. Your weight loss journey is no different. I always find that if I look back to last Christmas, I weighed myself on the 1st of January, and I found, actually, I think I was being a bit cocky last year. I overate on the 1st of January because it was New Year's Day, which I'm fine with. I actually then found the Tuesday, Wednesday quite straightforward, and I think that's because I'd eaten a bit more. I'd sort of find if I have quite a high calorie day, the next day I'm not as hungry. As we got towards the end of the week, the Thursday, Friday, yeah, that is when I started to struggle a little bit. That's when the cravings started to kick in. That is when, you know, the hunger hormone started to kick in a little bit. And I found it a little bit tougher. There's no easy answers to it. You've just got to fight it. You've just got to fight it if you want this journey. But if you do fight it, grit your teeth and get at it, it'll soon settle down. Now, I do plan my first week after a period of overindulgence, right? I really, really do. And things that I find really, really important for that first week is volume foods. So I'll tend to eat a lot of meat and 2 veg because I get a lot on my plate for not many calories, and that really helps to fill me up. I also make sure high protein as always, high fiber, good hydration. I like to get back into the gym straight away, get my steps up straight away, because that really helps to suppress our appetite. There's lots of natural ways to suppress our appetite. I will do a podcast on that in the new year. A lot of people are taking weight loss injections at the moment to suppress appetite. It can be done naturally. Is it harder to do it naturally? Does it take a bit more planning and a bit more effort than jabbing yourself every day or every week? Yes, but it can be done naturally. Yeah, and then the last thing I'm going to talk about for your first week is don't put too much pressure on yourself. Try and nail the basics. Now, obviously, we want to stick to a calorie deficit to lose body fat. But the basics for me, the basics of the approach for me is being accountable, tracking those calories. So irrelevant of what your app says, make sure you're tracking your calories. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's in there, right? Irrelevant of what it says, yeah? Then make sure your movement's good, get your steps up. And then if you do any exercise, get a little bit of exercise added back in. Just try and nail the basics, as it were. As you go into the year, or into January, it will get easier. And we do need to make the most of it. We do need to make the most of January, February. I always say this, there are better and worse times to lose weight. I think I said this in the last podcast. If it's a worse time to lose weight, it doesn't mean you can't lose weight. It just takes a bit more effort. And, the results might not quite be what we want them to be. When it's a better time to lose weight, we need to make the most of it. We need to capitalize on it. And January, February is a great time for 99% of people to lose weight. It tends to be a time where social lives are pretty irrelevant. Everyone's a little bit skint, so everyone's in the same boat. So there's not much peer pressure from doing bits and pieces. Everyone's talking about the same thing, getting fitter, getting healthier, losing weight. So you're kind of surrounding yourself a lot more with a lot of like-minded people. That being said, that can also be dangerous, because if you're in an office, you'll have, Babs over one side doing Slimming World, and you'll have Chantel over the other side that's doing the carnivore diet, and then you'll have Dave in the corner that's intermittent fasting, and you will be getting pulled from pillar to post. Now, I hope if you are a regular follower of mine, you listen to the podcast and you get involved with all my content, you'll understand that the key is healthy, sustainable weight loss. And that is something else I'm going to talk about in this podcast. But yeah, January is a good time and you need to capitalize on it. How do you capitalize on January? Well, you just make the most of a quiet period where you can concentrate on your journey. I set my clients a calorie allowance, and I call that calorie allowance their ideal calorie deficit. So more often than not, it's what we're trying to stick to. When life gets a little bit hectic, you might not quite stick to your ideal calorie deficit. So if your ideal calorie deficit is 14,000 calories over a week, a bank holiday weekend, you might be at 15,000. You're still in a deficit of 2,500, but you've just gone over your ideal a little bit. That's absolutely fine. Likewise, it might be a birthday week, or you might have a little weekend away, and you might just be struggling to stick to that ideal deficit. If you want to capitalize and make the most of your journey, stick to your ideal deficit week in, week out. And that is something we should definitely be looking at doing January, February. Like I say, the odd person's going to have a holiday and a few bits on, maybe a birthday, something like that. But for most of us, I plan nothing January, February. And I'm very strong with that. Some people might say, do you fancy going out? No, I don't do anything January, February. Right? I'm trying to put a bit of money back into the bank after Christmas. And I'm concentrating, over Christmas, weight loss wasn't my priority. January, February, weight loss is 100% my priority. And that's kind of the attitude we have to have a little bit at times if we want to make the most of this journey. Now, capitalizing on this good time to lose weight is not about going to extremes. I call it the January syndrome. I labeled the January syndrome when I first started personal training. My first year, full year of personal training as a full-time personal trainer was 2019. And January in a gym is absolutely rammed, right? Absolutely packed to the rafters. And you see all these new faces come in. We get to February half term and everything's back to normal. So where have these new faces gone that started in January? Or why were they so eager in January and you get towards the end of February, we don't see them again until next January? And it's because they go at it like a bull in a china shop, right? Rather than looking at, adding exercise into their lifestyle, going on a diet as a complete lifestyle change, they just think to lose weight, you have to exercise, right? So that means I have to go to a gym. They go to the gym, they'll have an induction. The only thing that people tend to remember from their induction is how to turn on a treadmill, because it's really, really simple. So they go to the gym and they walk on a treadmill for an hour. And they do that 5 days a week, first 2-3 weeks of January. That gets very boring very, very quickly. And then by the end of January, they're going 4 times a week. And then we slip into February and it's 3 times a week. Next thing, they don't go for a week. Then they give themselves a kick up the bottom and go, right, let's get back. And they go back to the gym, all with good intentions. They might go Monday, Tuesday. Then as we start getting into February, everyone's coming out of their post-Christmas hibernation and things, and then suddenly it's just gone. And the main reason it's gone is because you're doing something unsustainable. And people do this with weight loss in January. Like I say, bull in a china shop, out the blocks, run before they can walk. There'll be so many people in January that will have gone from eating 4,000-5,000 calories a day over Christmas to now it's January, now I'm going to eat 1,000 calories a day, or I'm going to get my Herbalife shakes out my cupboard, or my Juice Pluses, or I'm not going to eat carbohydrates. I'm going to go to the gym 6 times a week. I'm going to go for 2-hour walks every single day. I love the fact that these people are setting off with good intentions, but if you didn't do that in March, April, May, June, July, what makes you think you're now going to, or you couldn't stick to it last year, what makes you think you're going to stick to it this year? If you want to capitalise on your weight loss, don't starve yourself. Don't go to extremes with exercise. Don't go to extremes with, cutting things out of your diet. There's nothing wrong in January saying, do you know what, we're not going to have a takeaway in January. We're just going to have fakeaways. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with obviously joining a gym, going for a walk, going on a diet. Nothing wrong with that. But make sure it's healthy and make sure it's sustainable. Likewise, if you've been on a weight loss journey for a few months before Christmas or a year before Christmas, it doesn't really matter. Again, don't go into January thinking, if you were eating 2,500 calories a week pre-Christmas on your weight loss journey, when you get back to things in January, eat did I say 2,500 calories a week? I meant 2,500 calories a day, if I did say week. 17,500 calories a week, that'd be. Just do the same in January. Don't go, right, I was eating 2,500 calories a day on average in November, but in January I'm going to eat 1,500 calories a day. No, because you're going to crash and burn. And this is what these people do that go to the gym and they go hell for leather doing something that's really boring. Going to extremes. We do not want to go to extremes. Not with your eating, not with your movement. Whatever you're doing, always ask yourself this question. Always ask yourself this question on your weight loss journey. Whatever you're doing today to lose weight, are you happy to do it for the rest of your life? Now, you might be sat there going, I don't want to lose weight for the rest of my life. You don't have to, right? But the method, the approach should be a lifestyle change. And if it's a lifestyle change, it's changing your lifestyle for good. So when I started my weight loss journey, I overate food. I was very, very lazy. I was a big emotional eater. And from the start of my journey, I started going on daily walks. At the start of my journey, that was just for a few minutes a day because of how poor my mobility was. I still go on daily walks now, and I'm coming up to 11 years. 2 months into my weight loss journey, I started going to the gym. Now, exercise is not the be all and end all of a weight loss journey. It really, really isn't. What I find the main benefits of exercise is for me, and for a lot of people, is it's fantastic for my mental health. It's also fantastic for my physical health. If my physical and mental health are tip top, that makes a weight loss journey so much easier. But the actual direct effects of exercise on weight loss isn't that great. There are a lot of people put way too much emphasis on it, right? But when I started my weight loss journey, I was exactly the same as everyone else. I have to exercise to lose weight. I went and I joined a gym and I cracked on at the gym and I got bored very, very quickly. Very similar to the people that do this January walking on treadmills. But rather than giving up, I cracked on and I found something I enjoyed in the gym, which was lifting weights. And I started going to the gym a couple of times a week. That's never changed. For the last 10, 11 years, I've been going to the gym consistently throughout. And whether I'm trying to lose weight or not, I go to the gym. That keeps my mental health good, keeps my physical health good, and that massively helps me control my eating. Likewise, at the start of my weight loss journey, I was more calorie controlled. I was a lot more responsible with my calories. I still am today. But at the start of my weight loss journey, I still enjoyed a takeaway once or twice a week. I still do that now. So the things I put into place in 2014 are still in place now. I've tweaked them a little bit over the years and my philosophies have changed a little bit and I've shuffled things around to make things better. But my basic principles, which is what my weight loss plan is based on, if you become a client of mine, is still intact. And that's why I lost 250 pounds and I've maintained it for 7 years, because the lifestyle I started to lead in February 2014 is still basically the one I lead now in December 2024. Nothing has really changed. I can walk more now, I'm fitter now, I'm lighter now. But other than that, nothing has really changed. If I'm in a weight loss phase, I eat in a calorie deficit. If I want to maintain my weight, I eat in a calorie maintenance. Those are the only two things that change. Nothing else. Everything else has stayed the same. Likewise, the other support tools that I put into place, the high protein diet, the high fiber diet, right? I started to put that into place in 2014. I do that in 2024. Hydration, 2014, 2024. Nothing has changed. So when you start on your weight loss journey in January, if you are starting, or if you've been doing this a bit before Christmas and now you're getting back to your journey, just have a think about your approach. How long are you going to do it for? We beat ourselves up so much for falling off the wagon with our weight loss journey. And the honest truth is, you're going to fall off the wagon because of the way you're trying to lose weight, right? You're not doing yourself any favors. So many methods out there are unsustainable and you are going to hit a brick wall. You're going to crash and burn way before you get to your goal. So crazy fad diets, if you've been doing them in 2024, 23, make them a thing of the past. Start losing weight healthily and sustainably. Walk before you can run and put that into place in January. And don't think of and this is all different depending on how much weight you've got to lose, but don't think of, right, I'm going to do this January, February, March, or I'm going to do it. No, whatever you're going to start doing in January on your weight loss journey, if you've got a weight issue, that should still be in place next January and the January afterwards. Okay, so just think about that. And that might be something to think about now, because you've got a good 2-3 weeks before it's 2025. Again, depending on when you're watching / listening to this podcast. But just have a think. And like I say, if you are struggling, get on plan with me and I will show you the way. Okay, so just to summarize, get your 2025 off to a bang when it comes to your weight loss. Set yourself a realistic restart date and stick to it. Stick to it, right? No excuses. It might be tough for the first few days of getting back into your routine after, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks of food freedom and overindulgence, but grit your teeth. There's no easy answers and it will get easier as you move on into January. January, February, even March, before Easter is a really good time for weight loss, and you can lay an amazing foundation for the year of 2025. So get at it. If you're going to weigh yourself straight after Christmas, please don't panic about the scales. My clients, they can send me their post-Christmas weight and we'll break it down for them. Again, get on plan with me. I'll help you with that. But if you're not working with a coach or with me and you get on the scales in January, please don't panic. Remember, the scales weigh your weight. You're going to see an increase of water weight, food weight, water retention, and body fat on the scales. The first 3 will disappear very quickly as soon as you get back to your journey. The other one is just going to take, if you're losing a pound a week on average, if that's your calorie allowance, your calorie deficit, you know, you gain 3 or 4 pounds over Christmas, it's going to take you 2 to 3 weeks, but you can capitalize. You know, head down, really hit your calories, get your steps in, maybe add a bit of exercise in. And most of my clients, and this is just from the history, this is year 4 or 4th Christmas, previous 3 Christmases, 75-80% of my clients are back to their pre-Christmas weight mid-Jan. So like I say, enjoying Christmas, nice bit of food freedom. All it simply does is put a little pause button on the journey for a couple of weeks. And yeah, when you start off in January with all these good intentions, make sure whatever you're doing in January to lose weight, the approach, the method, you're happy to do it in February and March and September and next January and probably the January afterwards and the January after that, because we need a full lifestyle change for a successful weight loss journey. Remember the difference between successful weight loss and a successful weight loss journey. Successful weight loss is just losing weight, but most people choose crazy fad diets and they crash and burn way before they have a successful weight loss journey. And if you want to boss your weight loss, that is having a successful weight loss journey. Right, that's it. That is the last podcast of 2024. Hopefully a few tips there for you to get back into the swing of things. Podcast will be back straight away in 2025 with lots of new content to help you guys out on your journey. Thank you very much for all the support in 2024. Thank you very much for all the comments, the likes, the follows, the recommendations. You know, even if you just sit in the shadows and watch them, that is fantastic. So thank you very much for that. Have an amazing Christmas. Have an amazing New Year. I'm sure if you watch me on social media lives, I'll see you before then. But if I don't, yeah, just have a wonderful time. And remember, you know, maybe watch back the last podcast, Weight Loss When Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. Maybe give this one a couple of watches as well. And let's make 2025 your year when it comes to weight loss, because we are all going to boss our weight loss in 2025.